afternoon, or evening, whenever you are watching this. Welcome to the Sandlot Baseball League channel. We are super excited to get the 2025 season underway. And we are going to get started by just giving a bit of an intro to the league, what we're about, talk through some of the teams, introduce some of them, and then in the future, we will go through player by player and get some matchups going. There are 6 teams in this league, 3 for each division, all vying for the coveted Sandlot Cup trophy. Welcome in to the 2025 Sandlot Baseball League season. So to start off today, we are going to go through and just kind of talk about how the game will be played to give you a bit of an understanding, and then we will be on our way to get started with the season. So first up, we will have the player cards. So for each team, they will have a lineup of 9 starting players, including a DH, and then, depending on the team, either 4 to 5 to 6 guys on the bench. Now, each team is balanced to where their point total is the same across the entire 6 teams of the league. The points are down here, and each card is obviously represented with a different point total. So this current card would be worth 505 points towards your team salary of 6,500. But the team and their point totals will be for another day. So to get started, I'm going to show you a batter here first, then I'll show you a pitcher, talk about how the game works. So it's very similar to a regular game of baseball where you have a starting pitcher go up against the batting rotation of 9 players. So when we look at the card, there's going to be a lot of things that won't matter for our purposes, but the big thing to look at is the number in the middle, which is your on base. So for Bryce Harper, he has an on base of 11, which is totally fine. And if he is facing a left-handed pitcher, he will get a +1 to that on base to make it a 12. You can see that he has his batting handedness here being left-handed. You can see his fancy positioning on this side. Some players will have multiple positions that they can play, but for the 2024 season, when he played for the Phillies, Harper got a first baseman defensive rating of +2, which is pretty good. You can see his base running value up here, which is 19, his steal rating, which is 17. For other purposes of the game, because these cards are all from a game called Clutch Baseball that I love playing, which is a part of a whole separate game, but we're using these cards for the Sandlot Baseball League. He has some icons, which again will not matter for our purposes, but if you want to know what they are, it's an all-star icon and this slugging or silver slugger icon. You can see the Phillies colors here. We won't worry about the clutch rating. You can see obviously the name, their team, what number they wear. And then this lovely thing is called the chart. So each matchup will feature a batter and a pitcher. So to start the game, it'll be a starting pitcher, which I'll show you in a second. But depending on who wins the first matchup of a D20 dice roll will determine whose chart you get onto, which we'll cover here in a bit. But as you can see, you have strikeouts, ground balls, fly balls, walks, singles, doubles. He doesn't triple, but some people may. And then their home run. We're going to skip over to the pitcher very quick just to show you what that looks like. We have our rookie man here, Paul Skeens, who had an amazing year this year. So their pitching card will be very similar to the batter. Again, clutch rating doesn't matter if they have any fancy icons. Their defensive rating as a pitcher, which is 2. How many innings he can pitch normally without any additional things happening, which we'll cover later on. So 6. Here's his main number. So for the batters, it's called their on base. For pitchers, it's called their command. So he has a 7 command. This 1x here, you'll see the pitchers in the future have either a 1x, a 1 to 2x, or a 1 through 3x. That means if he rolls a 1 with his pitching roll, that is called a mistake pitch, and that means the batter gets an extra boost, and we'll use a D24 sided die to roll for their swing. You can see Skeens is right-handed, and then down here you can see again his team name, his number of the jersey he wears, how many points he's worth, and then his pitching chart, which again is strikeouts, ground balls, line drives, fly balls, walks, singles, doubles, and home runs. And so basically how your average matchup will go is you have your pitcher, you have your batter up to the plate. The pitcher will always roll first no matter what. They will roll a d20 and then add their command to that. So whatever you roll, let's say Skeens rolls a 10 on the d20, 10 plus 7 is 17. Because that is higher than his 11, okay, the pitcher will gain the advantage. So when the next thing that would happen then is the batter would roll no matter what, whether it's the batter's advantage or pitcher's advantage. The batter always rolls second, and he will roll a d20. Whenever he rolls the d20, you will look at the pitcher's chart since they got the advantage, and whatever number that is, you will record that thing that has happened. So again, if Skeens would roll a 10, the 10 plus 7 is a 17. That's bigger than Harper's 11. Harper would then roll for his swing. Let's say he would roll a 10. A 10 on Skeens' chart is a ground ball. Now let's say Skeens rolled a 3. 3 plus 7 is only a 10, which means the batter would get the advantage. So Bryce Harper would still roll second. He would roll that d20, and let's say he rolled a 15. That would give him a double. Now he could roll a 1 through 4 on his chart, and that would be considered an out, which is the dreaded batter chart out, which you never want to have happen. If the advantage is ever tied, the tie always goes to the batter. So if Skeens would roll an 11, roll a 4 here, 4 plus 7 is 11, that would tie Bryce Harper, and he would get to roll on his chart. No matter what the roll is, if you roll a mistake pitch, which would be a 1 on Skeens' chart, this batter would get to roll the 24-sided die, which is pretty cool. Now, throughout the game and the game's history, there are all different kinds of cards that you can have. These guys are both from the most recent season in 2024, which is the most current cards of the Clutch Baseball game has to offer. But there are also older cards or prize cards that you can make. So, for example, I made a Chase Utley card from his 2008 season, which is pretty cool. So, again, you can see his Philadelphia season. You got the cool skyline in the back there. His, again, defensive rating, his batter chart, how much salary he's worth, all the cool ratings. And the even cooler part is you can actually make it into a prize card. So this is my personal prize card where I made it in my team colors. You got the silver, the white, and the Kelly green looking color, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Now, just like a normal baseball game, there will be teams that are home and teams that are away. And depending on your team, to start the game, you will look at the home team's stadium card. I pulled Philadelphia as one of the examples. You'll roll a 24-sided die to see what type of temperature is out there. So you can see a 1 through 4 would be snow, 5 through 8 is cold, and then you're cool and mild. Then you would roll a wind condition to see if there's a breeze in, if it's calm, if it's a breeze out. So you can see that the most common examples are going to be cool or mild in this situation, and calm or a slight breeze out. And then a 16-sided die will be rolled to determine what inning will be there, and if it's how long that lasts for. So either a 1 inning effect or 2 innings, which is pretty cool. So let's say that it was a calm and mild uh, weather and wind condition. If it was calm and mild, we would go to this, which is no effect for anybody. But if the dice had rolled for cool and breeze out, the pitchers would get to add one to their rolls and the batters would get to add one to their swing. Basically, to symbolize that it's a little bit colder and the pitchers may be locking in a little bit more. And if there's a breeze going out, there's a higher chance for those batters to hit the ball a little bit further than they normally would. So those are kind of the basics of our gameplay. Again, each team is going to be a little bit different. So let's go and try to see what kind of teams we have out here. So we have the Sandlot Baseball League. The first team that we will be debuting is the Broad Street Bats. Now, this team is comprised of some players that are on my physical team for Clutch Baseball. There's a lot of prize cards that are pretty cool out there. And they have some cool guys on their team. A lot of them are prize cards or guys that I've used before. Kind of a Philly style team, in my opinion, and just some really neat cards that I think will be fun to see get put into play. You then have the Clean Cleats, and you'll notice that all of these teams have a cool identity involved with them. The Clean Cleats team is known for having some players with not the biggest number for their command, but they have a lot of outs. So you'll see a lot of pitchers debuted with a base of 4 command with 18 outs or even 19 outs. And they're going to rely on rolling pretty well to make sure that the advantage goes to them and not allow a lot of damage on the base paths. Their batters are highlighted by some guys like Joe Mauer, Manny Machado, Nomar Garcia Parra, and Alex Gordon, to say the least. Next, you have the Bash Bros. And the Bash Bros, if you couldn't guess, are all about hitting the long ball. They debut 7 out of their 9 starting players hitting a home run, either with a 20 roll of the die, 3 of them at 19, and 3 of them at a 17. So they're all about hitting for extra bases and hitting the long ball. Their starting pitching isn't the best. They will see a lot of big numbers, but lower outs, so a lot of 6 command and 16 outs, which if you roll well and your opponent rolls low, can be a very solid strategy. Next up, we have the Shiny Squad. The Shiny Squad is comprised of a lot of prize cards. In fact, their entire starting 9 are all either Hall of Fame guys or prize cards that managers from the Clutch Baseball Leagues have used. 3 out of their 5 starting pitchers also are prize cards, and 3 of their 4 main relief pitchers also are prize cards. Some of those prize cards that are on there, which are pretty neat, are Bobby Bonilla, Rajai Davis, Willie Wilson, Ozzie Smith, Jerry Coleman, Benito Santiago, and Paul Konerko, to say the least. Pretty solid, shiny squad there. Next up, we have the Base Bandits. The Base Bandits, they're going to be a speed team. They're all about stealing bases, swiping bags, maybe not hitting for a lot of power, but using the small ball strategy to dink and dunk their way to getting some runs. Their starting pitching is ferocious, seeing guys like Cliff Lee from 2010, Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez, and Jeff Hoffman in the pen, Hobie Milner, Ryan Fernandez, some formidable guys. And then on the starting lineup, you have some classic names like Ichiro, Mark McLemore, Tony Gwynn, Jose Ramirez, Ian Kinsler. So some pretty cool guys there. The Strikeouts. The Strikeouts are a team filled with high base command with big strikeout potential. Sometimes not the highest number of outs, not a lot of 18, 19 type guys, a lot of 17s in there. But you have guys like Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, Yamamoto from the Dodgers, who just got the MVP this past season, which are pretty good. And they'll debut some cards in their starting lineup that are good at hitting for extra base hits, like Cal Ripken Jr., Mike Trout, Michael Toglia, and Colton Cowser, and Bryce Harper, and Yadier Molina. So they're not a squad that you want to mess with. So that's kind of introing some of our base teams there, kind of telling you how it's going to play. We're going to play 15 games in the season. There will be, again, 6 teams that were listed out there, so everybody will play each team a total of 3 times for 15 total games. Everybody will make the playoffs with the first 2 uh, highest seeds getting a bye. So the number 1 seed will get a bye, the number 2 seed will get a bye, and they will be a best of 5 series for the 3 rounds of playoffs. Stick around for the future. Let's see who will be the Sandlot Baseball League champions of 2025. Comment down below which squad you're going to be pulling for, and look to see when the next video is to see each player from each team shown and a little bit more into the style of play. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time.